Welcome to Hodge Podge Australia. Today we're making artisan bread. I have yeast, I have flour, I have salt, I have water. It's so easy to make. It's just pre-instant dried yeast. What we're going to do is I've already sifted the flour in the bowl. I will put a link to the quantities that you need in the description below. We're just going to break up the flour a bit. Just make sure it's all mixed through. We're going to add in our salt, we're going to add in our yeast, and we're going to add in our water. As you can see there, we've got half a teaspoon of yeast, we're going to have half a teaspoon of salt, and we're going to add in our water, which again, the quantity is down below in the description box. So have a look there if you'd like to make this bread. It's so super easy. I've never made bread before and I was stoked with how easy this was. Look at that, it was actually 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Well done. My memory is shocking these days. Just mixing the salt through. Don't mix the salt and the yeast in together. Try and mix them through separately, as you can see, and then you can combine them all. I don't really know why, to be honest. There's something in my head that tells me that you shouldn't put the salt and the yeast together. Pouring in the water, and what you're going to do is you're just simply going to mix all that around until it's combined and give it a quick knead with your hands. And then you're going to cover it with cling film and you're going to leave it in the bowl on the bench for 8 to 20 hours. So the great thing is you can make this at night before you go to bed, pop it on the bench, just leave it there, and you can make some bread the next day. Now if you want to add anything into the bread, you don't want just a plain loaf. If you want to add in some garlic or some rosemary or some cheese and bacon or something like that, put it all in now. So when you've done this, you can add your additives in. I haven't tried it by adding in anything more liquid like an oil or anything like that. I don't know how that would affect it. So a dry ingredient that you want to put in as well, add it in now before you put the cling film over, and then we come back to it after 8 to 20 hours. Now what we're going to want is a oven-proof dish with a lid, a nice crock pot if you have one. This was my first time using my crock pot, it's been in the cupboard forever. And what we're going to do is we're going to preheat the oven for an hour, and we're going to pop the pot into the oven for that hour to make it nice and hot. Now as you can see, that dough has risen really nicely. I had it sitting out for probably close to the 20 hours, to be honest. You can see there it's become nice and doughy. What we're going to do is we're going to transfer that into the bowl I have over on the right, which I've added just a little bit of flour to. See how it all just pulls apart from the side of the bowl? So it really doesn't stick that much and you can just scoop off the extra. So we're going to add it into the new bowl with some flour. Going to give it a little bit of a mix, and with the flour on the top, we're then going to cover it again with cling film and we're going to let that rise again for another hour. So just popping it into the bowl, giving it a bit of a mix around again, make sure it's all nice and stretchy, covering it with the cling film and leaving it for an hour while the oven preheats. Right, now we've got our crock pot out of the oven. It is very hot because the temperature in the oven is at about 230 degrees, so make sure you're using your mitts and your tea towels to not burn your hand on it. What we're going to do is we're simply going to take our once again risen dough out of the new bowl and pop it into our crock pot. So just loosely pulling it away from the sides of the bowl. Blah, blah, blah. It's like playing with goo. It's quite fun actually. I'd love to sit there and play with it, but that's not hygienic. So we're just going to pop it straight into the crock pot. We're going to put our lid back on, and that is now going to go into the oven just like that. I mean, if you want to put some grated cheese or something on the top or drizzle a little bit of oil over it now, probably would be good to do. Pop the lid back on. It's going to go in with the lid on. Pop it in the oven for 35 minutes. Boy, do I need to clean the door of that oven. Here we can see after 35 minutes what we're actually going to do is we're going to take the lid off. Very hot, very heavy lid. There you can see it's already rising, it's getting so nice and crispy. And then we're going to keep it in the oven again for another 10 to 15 minutes to help it firm up. And here is our bread all done out of our pot. Listen to that crunch. Let's take that out, give it a flip, and we're going to give it the tap test. You can hear just how absolutely crunchy and delicious that's going to be. So here it is out of it. So easy. Again, I mean, all you have to do is just have the time. Remember to come back and get it. Here's your crunch again. So hard. I can't wait to get into this with a bit of butter. And let's crack this thing open. Let's get the bread knife, let's cut it open and listen to that crust. Oh yeah, baby, that is the stuff. I don't know about you, and if you don't like a crunchy crust, then this is not the bread for you, but this is definitely the bread for me. It is so delicious. It's quite thick on the inside, so it's a bit damperish, it's a bit ciabatta-ish. It is perfect for dipping in soups or toasting up and smothering it in butter and honey and jams. So easy, you will love it. This is such a good bread for a newbie to try out. Thanks so much for watching our Hodge Podge Australia video again. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in for our next video.